Hello guys, and welcome back to my video. So today as we continue with our food delivery application with Firebase and Stripe and Flutter. So today we are going to finish working on the adding our menu to cart with ingredients, right? For example, for option, if it's a food delivery application, we need to give users an option to add or to remove toppings, right? So for example, if they want to add in toppings to their burger, they can just add these toppings and then they can add to cart. So if we go to our cart screen, let's navigate back to our cart screen. As you can see, we now have these toppings right here, right? So without wasting much time, let's start building this. Let's start implementing this feature. So the first thing that we need to go into our menu details page, right? So the first thing that we need in our menu details page is we need a user ID. So this, since our user is logged in using Firebase, we are simply going to get this user ID from Firebase auth, right? We are simply going to get it from Firebase auth. Okay, and then the second thing that we need is we need to just initialize the user provider, right? So we simply need to watch the user provider for changes. So to get user provider. Then what this user provider does, it takes in the user ID, which we are simply going to implement. And then what we are simply going to do is inside our, let's go inside our elevated pattern, add to cart elevated pattern, right? Add to cart with ingredient. And so inside our on-pressed method, what we simply have to do here is want to simply watch for the cart controller. And then to access methods inside our cart controller, as you can see, we have this cart controller right here, which extends an async notifier provider. So to be able to access these methods, the add to cart with ingredients method or add to cart method, what we simply have to do is if we go back inside our menu details page, we simply say cart controller provider. So this notifier allows us to just invoke methods that are associated with it, cart controller provider. As you can see from the documentation, it obtains associated async notifier associated with this provider without listening to state changes. This is typically used to invoke methods on an async notifier. So the method that we want to invoke is the add menu to cart with ingredients, right? So it's going to take in the menu, and then we need the ingredients. So the ingredient, we are simply going to get it from the selected ingredient list that we created, right, from our right, from our checkbox list style, right? So what we're simply going to do here is we simply pass our selected ingredients, right? So if I hot reload our application and then let me run our simulator, now you can see that if I add, let me delete this item here, add items, then add to cart, and then if we go back, you can see that we now have items in our cart with also ingredients, right? And then so that's it for adding cart items with the ingredients. But now we want to make sure that if the user clicks on this shopping bag here, it should add items to cart, and we also want to dynamically update the number there. So basically what we have to do is let's go inside our menu folder, and then inside our widgets, and then inside our menu item widget right there, inside our menu item widget. And then what we simply have to do right here is we already have the cart, the current user, and then we also have the user data right there, right? So what we simply have to do is let's go inside our stake position. We have a stake, which is with the shopping bag, and then with the text, right? So to dynamically update this text, what we want to do is we are getting the cart item from from the user, right? So what we are going to do is we are simply saying user data. So we can't access it because our position we did is a constant, it's not dynamic, right? User data dot cut, right? If user data dot cut, if it's not equal to now, right? So that means that we have items in our cut, right? If it's not equal to null, that means we have items in our cut. If it's not equal to null, basically what we have to do now is we simply have to just display a text. So this text is going to be user data dot cut dot length, right? And then we simply want to convert it to a string, right? So after we do that, now we need to just text, text down, right? And then let's just give it a font size of 15, and then color of black. And then we also want to give it a font weight. Then now that we are done, let's just wrap our text with a constant, and then if there is no item in our cart, what we simply want to do is just display an empty text. And then the other thing is we need to handle adding our items to cart when the user clicks the shopping bill. So we wrapped our stack widget, the gesture detector, and then to do that, we're going to cart dot add menu to cart, right? And then we have the menu and then the content. So if I want to load our application, it should be able to add items to cart now. Let's see. Okay, let's see now. So you can see we're now adding items to cart, and you can also see that it's changing dynamically, right, as we add items to cart. Okay, so thanks for watching, guys. So the next video we're going to be working on the checkout, right?